Okay, so get this. The House is about to choose their new speaker, and it's like a total nail-biter right now.
It is.
We've got Johnson and Trump, two major players,
Hmm.
you know, in the political arena,
Absolutely.
making their final pitches, and you've sent me their speeches, some really interesting analysis from some insiders, all that good stuff.
Yeah, it's all there.
So are you ready to kind of like deep dive into this whole showdown and figure out what it all means?
Absolutely. I think this is huge. I mean, there's a lot to unpack here. And, this has big implications,
Yeah.
not just for Congress, but, potentially for the policies that are going to actually directly affect your life.
Right. Like this could hit home for people listening.
Exactly.
Okay, so let's start with Johnson.
Okay.
His final pitch really focused on this whole idea of unity, right? Bipartisanship.
Right.
And I actually counted in his speech, he used the phrase working together like 15 times.
Oh, wow.
So clearly a deliberate strategy there, right? But then you look at his track record, and, he's been known to play hardball when it comes to things like budget negotiations.
Yeah. Right.
So is this a real shift in his approach, or is this just, savvy campaigning?
Oh, that's a great question. I think what's really interesting here is that Johnson is trying to walk this tightrope.
Yeah.
He has to appeal to moderate voters without, alienating his base.
Right.
And remember, he's been a pretty vocal critic of some of Trump's policies, so he needs to distance himself from that while also trying to capture some of that same populist energy.
It's a tough spot.
It is, and you're right, his history kind of suggests that he's not afraid to be aggressive,
Yeah, he gets things done.
to get what he wants.
Yeah. Okay, so how does that compare to Trump's pitch? Because he went in a totally different direction.
Totally different. You'll see in the sources that Trump really hammered home his plan for economic revitalization.
Okay.
And specifically what he calls his America First economic agenda. So he's really drawing a direct line from his previous accomplishments, in business to what he could achieve as speaker.
Right.
He's promising to bring back jobs, cut taxes, basically make America economically dominant again. It's a message that obviously resonates with his base,
For sure.
but it remains to be seen if it'll sway enough undecided voters in the House.
Okay, so speaking of undecided voters, there's one representative that you flagged in your notes.
Oh, yes.
Someone who's been really quiet this whole time.
Very quiet.
Tell me more about why they're so important.
Yeah, Representative Garcia is definitely someone to watch closely.
Okay.
They chair this key committee with a lot of influence over budget appropriations.
Oh, that's a big one.
Huge. And they haven't publicly endorsed either candidate.
Interesting.
And if you look at their voting record, they tend to lean more toward Johnson's side of the aisle.
Okay.
But they've also broken with their party on some pretty key issues. So their vote could really go either way, and it might just come down to who they believe can actually deliver on their promises.
Ooh, man. This is where it gets really interesting for our listener, right? Because depending on who gets Garcia's vote and ultimately wins the speakership, we could see some pretty significant shifts in policy.
Absolutely.
Particularly when it comes to things like taxes and spending.
For sure. A Johnson-led House, might be more inclined toward compromise and bipartisanship, as we saw kind of emphasized in his pitch.
Right.
But with Trump at the helm, we could see a much more aggressive approach, potentially even leading to government shutdowns or other standoffs if he doesn't get his way.
Wow.
Either way, the decisions that are made in the House are going to have a ripple effect throughout the government and the economy.
So what's the overall mood in the House right now? Like, can you feel the tension building as this vote gets closer?
Oh, absolutely. One of the sources that you sent me, a political correspondent, actually described the atmosphere as a pressure cooker. There are a lot of closed-door meetings happening, whispers in the hallways, and last-minute attempts to sway undecided votes. It's clear that both Johnson and Trump are really pulling out all the stops to secure this win.
Wow. Okay. So that brings us back to you, dear listener. We've laid out the players, the strategies, the potential consequences.
Yep.
But here's the million-dollar question. What do you think will be the deciding factor in this election?
Yeah.
Is it policy, personality, political maneuvering? And what does your answer tell you about the state of American politics today?
That's a really important question to think about. This isn't just about one election. This is kind of a microcosm of the larger political landscape,
Right.
reflecting the divisions, the compromises, and the high stakes that really define our system.
And remember, this is just the beginning of the conversation. Keep digging into those sources, explore different perspectives, and form your own conclusions. We'll be back soon to tackle another fascinating topic. Until then, stay curious.
Definitely.
And we'll see you next time.
Sounds good.
All right, bye. Thanks for listening to The Deep Dive. Don't forget to subscribe to our show and leave us a rating and review. We appreciate your feedback and support.
And join us next time for another insightful deep dive into the issues that matter most.
Until then, stay informed and stay engaged.
See you soon.
Bye.